NVIDIA is valued at 3 or 3.5 trillion, sorry, not billion, trillion. The cash flows need to be in the range of 2 or 3 or 400 billion in a relatively short period. I want to tell you about a visit I made to Microsoft headquarters in early 2000. I think this was about January 2000. There was a very early employee at Microsoft, Vijay Vashi. Some of you may have heard of him. And a wonderful guy. And Vijay was a very early investor in my fund. And he basically said, look, Mohnish, if you're ever in Seattle, I can introduce you to a bunch of current and former Microsoft people who may have an interest in investing in your fund. And I said, Vijay, what a coincidence. I'm going to be in Seattle in 2 days. And he said, oh, that's great. So I met Vijay. We went to Microsoft headquarters and he took me to a bunch of different offices and introduced me to a bunch of people at Microsoft, including I met Satya. He had a head full of hair at that time. And a bunch of wonderful, some of you guys might know Soma and so on. And so I met some wonderful, great people at that trip. And I was asked this question. Actually, I wasn't even asked this question. I actually gave my perspective. I told the Microsoft people and the ex-Microsoft people I met at that time, I said, look, when you're in Microsoft at this time, your livelihood comes from Microsoft. Most of your net worth, excluding your residence, is in Microsoft stock. And I said, it's a terrible investment. And it's going to play out really badly for you. And they told me, look, Mohnish, you are a value guy. You don't understand these things. You don't understand tech. You have no idea about this company. This is one of the best businesses that has ever been put forward on the face of this earth. I said, yes, but you're going to have a horrible ride. And of course, they all thought I was stupid and they didn't do anything. And if you look at the Microsoft stock performance from 2000 to about 2012, it was a terrible ride. I mean, at one point you lost like 60, 70% unrealized loss, hopefully, if they didn't sell, but it would have been a very difficult ride to hold on. And it wasn't because they were wrong about the future prospects of the business. They were absolutely right. Microsoft was a great company then and it's a great company today. The S&P 500, it's not just me, but a lot of people say that, say, in the next 10 or 15 years, if you have an expectation that you're going to get more than 3 to 5% a year from the S&P 500, I would like to take the other side of the bet on that with you. So I think the odds that the S&P delivers over 5% returns a year for the next 10 or 15 years approximates zero. This is why I was asking and saying at the beginning that, the Magnificent Five or the Magnificent Seven, tell me those cash flows. Just run an exercise on your own. Look at the value of those businesses. If NVIDIA is valued at 3 or 3.5 trillion, sorry, not billion, trillion, the cash flows need to be in the range of 2 or 3 or 400 billion in a relatively short period, because as I go further out in the years, then I have to discount it.
Yep.
So when is NVIDIA going to deliver single year, 500 billion cash flow? Okay, 700 billion cash flow. Because if I'm putting out 3.5 trillion, let's say I have a family fortune of 10 trillion and I buy the whole of NVIDIA, 3.5 trillion. If I'm putting out 3.5 trillion, I want 7-8 trillion out of it, right? I want to double my money in a few years. How am I going to get 7-8 trillion? The only way I get 7-8 trillion is somehow there's like that much in cash flows that comes in the next 15, 20 years, discounted back, which means the cash flows need to be like 15 trillion or something. To get my 7 trillion, I need 15 trillion in cash flow. Show me how they're coming and which year, what cash flows are coming. And I just think that the math on that is hard. I mean, to me, it just goes into a too hard pile. So Warren Buffett increasing his cash position, he's publicly stated that he thinks that the corporate tax rates are at a record low rate right now. One of the reasons he's given for reducing the stakes is to basically realize the gain while tax rates are low. But I think he clearly understands that this 3 to 5% is not lost on him. Between us girls, it's not going to be 5%. It's going to be less than 3%. Okay. And Warren actually kicks himself for not being aggressive enough during the financial crisis. He's also said the fact that we will have a dislocation in the market in the next 100 years is 100%. The odds that we will have a significant dislocation in the market in the next 10 years is quite high. Not 100%, but quite high. So his perspective is, okay, man, one dislocation that's possible for Berkshire to have is when Warren passes away. Okay, they stop buying the stock. They're not even buying their own stock now because they think it's too richly priced. So it would not be imprudent to read into Buffett's large cash position that the future is not that great for a lot of the high flyers and even other flyers in the S&P. So a lot of you have a lot of money in Microsoft. I think the world of the company. I think it's a fantastic business. If I owned Microsoft today, I would be more bullish on it than I was in 2000. So I wouldn't want to sell. I mean, I don't like to sell things which are great, which is what I was asking people in 2000. But 2000, it was just egregious. It was just 10 billion or less in cash flows on a 600, 700 billion market cap. It was like a trailing P of 70 or something. Satya is fantastic. The team is fantastic. But I would say that probably having at least half your assets outside Microsoft isn't the worst thing in the world you could do.
Mohnish Pabrai warned Microsoft employees who were owning Microsoft shares as their only investment during the dot-com bubble when the valuation of Microsoft was too high. But there is no doubt that Microsoft is a fantastic company. Even Pabrai agrees on it. But why it is a bad idea to own a company at a higher valuation? Let's understand it with a simple example. Let's say you own a company whose valuation is $10 billion and it generates $10 million in cash flows. So now look at this. It would take 1000 years for you to generate 10 billion in cash flows if there is no growth in the cash flows year on year and if the valuation remains the same. So the real question is, does this business truly have the ability to grow its cash flows fast enough to justify that valuation? This is the question you need to ask yourself. Because at the end of the day, cash flow is everything. It's the real money a business produces, not just a story or a hype around it. If a company is highly valued, but its cash flow does not grow to match the valuation over time, the market will eventually correct it. And the stock prices can be driven by excitement in the short term. But in the long term, cash flow always wins. So before you invest, don't ask whether this is a great business, whether this is a great business at this price. Because even a great business can be a terrible investment if you pay too much for it, whether it could be Microsoft or even Google.